Hello, everybody. Welcome back to episode 32 of Buddy Pass Podcast, presented by, as always, the Masshole Perspective. If you haven't noticed yet, this is not Raff speaking, the one who usually does these little intros here, because he unfortunately is blind now. He had his eyes removed in surgery,
It was a
and he can no longer see.
botched operation. He's going to be on the LTIR. He's not going to retire, so he still gets his contract. He still gets everything he was guaranteed. So he's going to get all
Yep.
his money. He'll retire when that contract runs out, but tough to see him go down. I will say, Brett, congratulations. That was a very, very good intro. Obviously doesn't hold a candle to Raff, but
No,
you guys should see
doesn't compare.
it. There's like a minute of footage of Brett just trying to pull himself together and think about what he's going to say before that intro. So
I can't speak publicly without preparing everything I'm going to say. Like in restaurants, dude, when I'm ordering my food, I say it at least 10 times in my head. Like I can't. So yeah, this was like that. I felt like I was ordering food at a restaurant.
And you know what? Generally, I do the same thing. I still fuck it up. I
Yep.
still find a way to make myself look like a fucking idiot. So
I feel like I did okay on that one.
You
but
did.
Like you said, doesn't compare to Raff's intros. So but to be real, he did have an eye surgery. He's recovering. He's fine though. Surgery went great. I think it's considered a surgery.
Yeah,
Something.
an operation.
Something. Yeah. An operation. Yeah, that's what we'll call it.
It was a fun game too.
So anyway, what have you boys been up to? That's what Raff always says.
We are creatures of habit over here.
Yeah.
No, just been pretty good. Went home this past weekend, celebrate the stepbrother's birthday, Ben. I feel like I keep celebrating birthdays.
July and August is a big birthday area. At least like with people I know, friends, family, July and August is a big one.
Yeah. So happy birthday. If it's your birthday today, tomorrow, the day after, happy birthday.
Actually, I mentioned in last week's episode, but today, Tuesday, August 3rd, that we're recording, this will be out tomorrow, but today is Matt Lab's birthday. So
happy birthday.
Happy belated birthday, Math Lab. By the time he hears this. I'll be seeing him tonight. I was the first person to say happy birthday to him. I was with him at midnight last night.
Are you one of those people? Do you have to try to be the
I'm
first
actually
person
not,
to say
but
it?
I'm actually not, but I happened to be with him last night and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna be the first person to say it. Okay.
Fair enough.
But yeah, big 2-1.
Good. Congratulations, Matt. I know you're a big supporter. No, fine weekend though. Hung out with the fam. Hung out with some friends on Friday night. So it was good. Overall, pretty good. Good weekend. How about you?
With me. I had my first weekend off from work in like a month.
God, it's tough
because
I
usually have like the museum's closed on Mondays and Tuesdays, so usually like that's my weekend, and I'm working like Saturdays and Sundays most of the time. But I got this one off, hang out with the boys for the weekend, and yeah, we just hung out at my friend Nick's house, my house, did a little. No, I'm not gonna say that.
Oh, why? Come on.
I'm gonna cut this out, but we binge watched Outer Banks. I'm not putting that in here.
No, you're gonna come on. You have to put that in. Why would you cut that out?
Because that's embarrassing.
You're embarrassing. You put Raff's feet on the Instagram. You should have to put this in. You should have to keep this entire conversation.
Fine. I'll think about it.
Just fucking do it.
If we get a video, like a little video thing from Raff tonight, he can't, obviously with like the eye surgery, he can't, for people listening, can't really like look at light and stuff. He's been texting us a little bit, but it probably hurts. But he might send us a little video later that I'll throw in here right now if he does.
Yeah.
But if not, then you'll just be hearing this conversation right now. So
the way he describes this this little procedure is he calls it a sunburn on his eye. So I don't know. Like, I mean,
that's
sunburn.
It sounds painful.
It does. It does.
Yeah. I'm sure he's in pain, but
long way from the heart, bud. Pick it up. Come on.
Yeah. Does he have a heart though?
He can be kind of
heartless.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't.
Anyway, some more banana lands this past week in the hockey world.
Dude, if we thought last week was
Um,
Banana Lands, holy shit.
yeah, because we so last Wednesday was the big day where just an enormous amount of signings and a few trades occurred. But as you guys know, we recorded last week's episode on Tuesday, the day before. So a lot of it will be covered. We were able to cover some of it last week, but a lot of it we will today as well. Um, First one we can start with here that we missed last week is Gabriel Landeskog re-signed with the Avs, which obviously he was there was like some news about him sort of talking to other teams and stuff, but I don't know. I mean, I kind of expected he'd stick with the Avs. I don't know why they would let him go somewhere else, but
For a little while, I thought he wasn't gonna stay. I thought because it for most
yeah,
of the summer it was like, yeah, camps aren't really close. Like
true.
there wasn't a lot of promise. Can we talk about one thing before we go into the signings and stuff
Yeah, yeah,
before we
sorry.
get back to Landeskog? Um, so I wanted to take a second to talk about Evander Kane
Oh, okay.
and
Yeah,
that whole
yeah.
situation. So for those of you that don't know, Evander Kane's now ex-wife or soon to be ex-wife came out on social media the other day pretty much saying Evander bets on all of his NHL games, and bets on his performance, makes money off his performance, blah blah blah. And she also said that he took off to Europe without telling her or their child, his daughter. Um, do you remember why he took off? There was some.
Their house was being like whatever
That's
it's
right,
called, like taken or
taken from the
something
bank,
for
and
bankrupt. Yeah,
and and
so he just dipped.
Mrs. Kane claimed that he didn't tell her that either, and that he just left him in the
Mm.
dark, left for Europe, left him behind, blah blah blah. And so just recently, like as of the last day, Kane has come out and said, none of this is true. She's a psychopath. I would never do anything to my daughter like that. Um, but what I thought was particularly interesting is how quickly the NHL hopped on this story compared to the Blackhawks story. Because I know we talked
Hmm.
about like the Blackhawks situation with their sexual misconduct, which
Yeah.
everybody in the front office of the Blackhawks organization is a scumbag and a dirtbag and should die.
Yep.
In my professional opinion,
Yeah.
that's what I think. So there's been a lot of stuff on like Twitter and other social media platforms of saying how quickly the NHL has you know dove in to this investigation into Kane.
Delved.
Delved. Ooh,
I think
I
that
love.
sounds
Yep.
right.
Yeah. No,
Delve
that.
into.
So he dived. They dived into this investigation like a lot faster than the Blackhawks one, and so people are like,
Mm.
oh well, if they figure out if Evander Kane, did all this faster than they did the Blackhawks, sexual misconduct stuff, then there needs to be a conversation, which I completely agree with. But I
Mm.
wanted to throw that in there because that's a whole fucking mess. There are, some of his teammates are coming out now saying, they don't want him in the room next year. They don't want him
Yeah.
playing. I guess he was almost traded at the beginning of the summer. So it'll be interesting to see. I know he filed for bankruptcy like last year or 2 years ago or whatever it was. He's
Like
had some
27 mil in debt or something.
yeah,
Like
he's had some
crazy.
some run-ins with sexual misconduct allegations and abuse
Mm.
allegations and things like that. So he seems pretty
Um.
adamant though when he came out and said, I would never do this to my daughter. Like this is not something that I would do, blah blah blah. So it'll be interesting to see how it pans out.
Yeah.
I struggle believing one side over the other though.
Yeah, one thing that he said in like I assume you saw his like Twitter post where he just typed like a little
Yeah.
thing that and like he mentioned how referencing the thing his wife said about betting on his own games and throwing them, he mentioned how he had statistically like the best season of his career this year. Like
Yeah.
points per game wise, he put up like 49 and like 56. He's only put up 50 points like one or two other times. That was in like 80 games. So I mean, you can't prove somebody's throwing games or not, but like you said, I don't know what side to believe, really. I mean, obviously the dude has some issues in terms of his future with the Sharks or any other NHL franchise. I think it might be unlikely, especially just mostly because a lot of his Sharks teammates have come out and said they don't want him around anymore.
Hmm.
So I think chance of him being on the Sharks next season is extremely low. I think he'll be out of there, whether it's a buyout trade, whatever. Um, but his futures in the NHL is diminishing very quickly now.
Yeah, I
Um,
this might this might end it altogether because
yeah,
he's struggled the last few years, like I said, with the allegations, obviously the filing for bankruptcy 2 years ago, whatever it was. So I
he's got to
weird.
fight Jake Paul.
He does have to fight Jake Paul too, which
He could
now
he'd make like 50 mil if he did that.
wait a minute. Maybe
Yeah, dude,
that's
that was like the big thing when he first came out and said like I want to fight Jake Paul and stuff. Everyone was like, this dude just wants to be able to pay off all his debt.
how
Like,
much fucking money do you
like
owe?
he's gonna have more than enough to pay off whatever he owes if he fights Jake Paul. But um, I don't think that'll ever happen.
No, probably not.
But I tune in though.
I
I
would
watch
too.
absolutely.
Yeah,
My money's on Evander Kane there. Talking about betting.
he needs it.
Uh,
No, but anyway, back to the fun stuff. Back to the
yeah,
the more enjoyable talk. Because fuck
yeah,
Evander Kane. Um,
yeah.
yeah, Lando stays in
Mhm.
Colorado. That's huge. Uh,
It was an 8-7.
yep.
Just good deal. I don't think there's really too much to say about that one. I mean, a good deal that the Avs had to get done, and they did. So
I was gonna say, branching off of the Avs, they lose Grubauer though, which
okay, yep,
is, in my opinion, I think it's tough to lose that guy who
it
finished
is.
second in Vezina ratings. Was a standout guy for you this year. Some might argue that he had a lot of help in front of him. Um, like he played so well because he had a pretty solid team in front of him. But they took a run. They got Kemper, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yes, they got
They
Darcy
did.
Kemper, which
Yes.
I was just gonna bring up. I mean, that's another good goalie. Doesn't compare to this, Vesna nominee year that Grubauer had.
Mhm.
But I mean, he's young, right? Kemper, he's not even like 30 yet.
I don't think so.
So
And he's shown that he can be a
he's
proven like number one bona fide guy.
he's been pretty good with a not very good team in front of him
Yeah.
in Arizona. So I mean, I think I'm pretty excited to see how he does in Colorado there. I mean, definitely a little bit of a loss losing Grubauer and getting him to be the replacement, but who knows? Maybe it'll play out well. So, but Grubauer going to the Kraken, I was so excited about. I think that's sick.
It's so
Like,
I saw a post today. It said they now have four guys on their roster that have won a cup too. So it was
oh,
Yanni
Schwartz
Gord. Yanni Gord's got two. Schwartz has his one with St. Louis.
done.
Grubauer has his one with Washington. Um,
It's done.
and yeah, done with St.
Yeah.
Louis
So
too.
5 cups between 4 guys because Gord too. But
Hmm.
yeah. Wow. Yeah. I totally forgot because I remember when they signed Schwartz, um, they they signed Schwartz before Grubauer, right? Or I mean, I think they were both on Wednesday, but
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, I believe that they
I
did.
just I totally forgot Vince Dunn was like won that cup with the Blues. Like I remember after the expansion draft, I was like, damn, Gord's like their only like cup winner on the roster. I just totally like drew a blank on Dunn, but yeah, I think that's good. Bring some cup winning leadership as well as some out of guys like Giordano, just some very experienced older guys too. Um, but I definitely the Grubauer signing made me a lot more excited to watch the Kraken play. Because I mean, I think Raff brought it up in a previous episode that they're going to be a tough team to score on.
Hmm.
They now have that tandem with Drieger, who I'm sure is going to play out to be a great goalie, and Grubauer, as well as a great decor in front of them from a defensive standpoint. Not a very offensive producing one, but they're going to hold it down. So definitely going to be a tough team to score on. I think overall you're going to see a lot of games from them similar to like Islanders games.
Yeah, that's a good
Just
comparison.
those like low scoring type of games where like they're not going to score that many goals most of the time, but you're going to have a tough time scoring on them. So I feel like that might be a comparison. But another team I wanted to talk about was the Oilers. They signed Ty Barry to a 3 by 4.5, and then Zach Hyman to a 7 by 5.5 on last Wednesday. And then they also made, which I I'll start with those two signings. I liked both those signings. Like
The common theme
I
of
don't know.
free agency has been overpaying
See,
guys.
I
I honestly I don't think Zach Hyman is worth $5.5 million. I don't. I don't think he's
yeah,
worth
I
that.
was about to say that, but like, I mean, I've only ever seen him play. I don't know. Him playing on the Oilers will give us a better idea of how he really is because
Yeah.
he's really only ever played with guys like Matthews, Marner, Nylander. I mean, yeah, he'll be playing with McDavid and or Drysdale there. Um, dude,
But I could
I
play.
don't know if I don't think I want to call his an overpayment. I think 5.5 for 7 years is pretty good
I,
deal to get Zach Hyman to play with McDavid or Drysdale. Um,
I don't know. I just struggle. I just struggle to have that much confidence in a guy who, like, yeah, if you stick me, a washed up 2 year high school varsity player with McDavid and Drysdale, I'm also going to put up 40, 50, 60 points a year. Like, all I have to do is stand in front of the net and poke it in. You know what I mean? McDavid's going to find me. And I'm not trying to slight Hyman at all because he is obviously a really good depth guy. He's a good forward. I just 5.5 for seven.
if anything, it's the term, the 7 years.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, that's what
maybe you could have stuck with the 5.5 or maybe even just went down to 5 for like 2 years
I was gonna say
just to
three,
see how it went there, or
three
three
max.
just to see how it goes. And then if he does really well, maybe bump him up to like 6 flat for another like 4 or something. I mean, I don't know what the breakdown of pay is on that contract. Is the 5.5 is the AAV. I don't know how it breaks down, but I don't know. I think it'll be fine. It's the trade I didn't like was the
The,
that I was gonna bring up was the Bear for Fogle one.
yeah, so
What
Warren
the fuck?
Fogle goes to Edmonton for Ethan Bear. I hate the fact that they let go of this Bear kid. Defense has not been Edmonton's strong suit, and I thought this kid was not like a not like a franchise guy for him, but obviously with the the racist comments that came out about him and him being like an indigenous with a having an indigenous background, whole words. I think he was not like a poster child for the Oilers, but he's one of their top like defensive prospects, you know what I mean? And he kind of made a name for himself this past year with Clefbaum not being in. I'm trying to pull up his stats right now. I don't know if you
I
did that, but
I do want to say the addition of Warren Fogle is a good depth forward addition,
yes,
but giving up Ethan Bear for it was not the right move.
no,
Um,
yeah, I don't.
they also signed Cody Cece. I couldn't remember who it was. I need to
Yeah,
sign another defenseman. He was 4 years, 3.25 AAV. Just another solid defenseman that I think will help out there. So I mean, now they got CC, Barry, Nurse, Clefbaum, right? Is that their
I don't.
core?
Clefbaum has not been in the projected lineups
He's still
from what I've
not.
seen. Yeah, I don't know that there is a timetable for his return yet.
Damn. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. Because then, um, I mean, obviously their goalie situation is pretty shit with Koskinen, and I mean Mike Smith. I guess he had a solid regular season last year once he came back, but it's old as fuck, and Koskinen sucks horribly.
Mhm.
But I did see just this morning a thing about I think it was like Elliot Friedman or one of those guys said, "Don't be surprised if we see Anton Hudobin on the Oilers next year."
Did see that.
Which, again, another old guy, but made a cup run 2 years ago, all the way to the final. Unfortunately, had to face the Lightning though.
He was with
So I mean,
he was with Boston when they went to the Cup final in
yeah.
2013.
So I mean, that's obviously a cup run is what this Oilers team is looking for if they want to fucking keep McDavid and Draisaitl around. So I think that'd be a pretty good move. I'd love to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Number of games he'd play in the regular season, maybe like half, I'd say.
Yeah, because
You'd
Mike Smith,
split with
not a young guy.
Yeah. I mean, neither's Hudobin. You're rolling with two old fucks there out of Hudobin and Smith. I mean, unless they believe in what's his name? Mikko Koskinen here.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. That's I want to see how apparent or evident that Ethan Bear loss is going to look.
Yep.
Like watching them play next year is like, how noticeable is it going to be that he's gone? And I'd like to see what they do with that Hudobin situation.
Yeah, tough to lose a little bit of youth back there too, with Bear. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, now that you add,
oh, I totally forgot they signed Duncan Keith too.
well, that's what I mean. Yeah,
I totally drew a blank on that.
Like, you know, he's going to be a good shutdown guy.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
that's
he'll be on like the third pair, but
you know, older guy. You know, is that what can you sacrifice that? But regardless, Edmonton, you know, if you add Hudobin in there, obviously get a little bit more forward depth with Vogel. It's another team. I feel like the last 3 or 4 years, you kind of sit in the offseason, look at Edmonton, and you're like, how are you going to be? Like, what kind of fucking team are you? Are you going to be like weirdly good? Are you going to be bad like everybody expects you to? Like, what's going to happen? So that'll be fun. A team that similar team right now in that regard for me is the fucking Golden Knights. One of the only things I saw them do other than trade Fleury was sign Martinez to a 3 by 5.25.
Which is a lot of money.
Which I do like Martinez though.
Yeah.
I do like Martinez.
Stanley Cup experience. OT Cup winner.
OT fucking winner.
As well as he won 2 with the Kings.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, that's where one of those OT winners came from.
Yeah. I couldn't remember if he was there for the other one, but he was.
But other than that, and other than trading away, you know, one of the pieces of the best goalie tandem in the NHL this past year, they lose their grit. They trade Ryan Reeves to the Rangers, and they lost Nosek to the Bruins in free agency.
Who I am going to toot the horn of later in this episode, but I'll wait a little bit.
Yeah. They did sign Sven Baertschi to a 1-year minimum contract. They did sign Matthias Janmark to a $1 by $2 million contract. But like, are you looking at the Golden Knights this summer compared to 3 months ago and saying this is a better team? They signed Brossoit, who's a backup goalie, nothing special.
Yeah. I think
can you honestly look at the Vegas Golden Knights and the decisions they've made this summer and be like, yes, this team is better. This team is going to get us through that third round next year compared to the team we had 3 or 4 months ago. No, neither do I. I
wouldn't say so. So, which I agree. I don't know what they're doing, but one of the other names that they traded for, they forgot to mention was Evgeny Dadonov, which.
But you let go of Nick Holton.
Mean, yeah, I know. I like Dadonov, but he doesn't make up for what they lost. You know, I mean, he's going to score last year he scored 13 and 55 with Ottawa, but then the year before that in Florida, he scored 25 in 69 games. So, I mean, he'll probably put up 20 something goals for him this year, but like that just doesn't make up for what they lost, like you
Yeah.
said. Um, and then they still have, yeah, they got Nolan Patrick out of that 3-way trade there a couple weeks ago, right?
Yep, that's
Who
right.
obviously just hasn't really blossomed yet. I'm hoping he does. Maybe he will in Vegas, but again, it's a big gamble. Um, so yeah, that's looking at them. I'd expect them to be a worse team than they have been the last couple of years.
Now, the one thing I think that this Golden Knights team is one of the only teams left in the Eichel sweepstakes. And you see the Fleury deal go down where they literally get nothing in return. You
Mm.
know, they trade Fleury away from a prospect who is going to continue to play in the Chicago system.
Which I don't even understand. I'm not even going to try to understand it, but carry on.
NHL gymnastics, rule gymnastics. I don't get it. So, you look at the guys that they kind of let go or moved. Are they clearing a little bit of space so they can, shoot 4 guys and a pick to Buffalo for Eichel there? Like that, I feel like that could be something that they're doing. In terms of
Could
kind
be.
of not blowing up their roster, but making some questionable moves.
Mm.
Um, I don't know. It like if they don't end up getting Eichel, then I think they shot themselves in the foot because you look at these deals and that's kind of the only thing that you think is possible at this point in terms of like why they made these decisions. Like that's the only logical thing is they're shooting for him. They're shooting for Eichel. But that's another conversation I want to have. I think Buffalo's asking way too much for Eichel. They're asking
Yeah.
for like one NHL ready player, like 2 prospects, or is it 2 NHL ready players, a prospect, and a pick?
Yeah. It's something like that. It's like two. It's either one or two, and then I swear it's like 2 prospects, 2 picks. Like it's a lot.
So
Um,
yeah, so one of the latest offers, shout out Raff, he actually sent this to us. Um, latest offer from the Rangers to Buffalo was Kravtsov, Georgiev, Jones, Hedel, and a first rounder for Eichel. That is one, two, 2 NHL guys, 2 prospects, and a first round draft pick.
that's what
Kravtsov,
the
that's what they're asking for. That's
yeah
what the Rangers offered. Sorry.
yeah
I I
that's
love
not gonna happen.
I love Eichel. I love his game. Obviously, he can be a difference maker, but I think they are asking way too much for him. Way too
Yeah,
much.
I agree. Um, but I also wanted to bring up Philip Deneau to the Kings,
Mm.
because he I love Philip Deneau. I think he's a great defensive center for the Canadians this past year, and he signed a 6 by 5.5 with LA, where I would have to guess he'd be their second line center next year behind Kopitar. Right? I'm not forgetting someone.
No, I think that's right.
I mean, that makes me excited to watch LA because I mean, they have like Turcotte in the system too, who might be ready next year. Quentin Byfield, who could be playing up there too. I don't know. That one kind of caught me by surprise. I like didn't see any like rumblings about Deneau to the Kings before it happened.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of happened, and I was like, oh, well, I know there were like, I swear I saw some things beforehand about Deneau maybe moving, but there were like no teams in mind, and the Kings were not one that came to mind personally. So when it happened, I was kind of like, oh wow. Um, But I mean, I like it. I like it for the Kings. Kind of sucks for the Habs. I mean, you lose Shea Weber too next year. They
Yeah.
signed Dennis Savard, right?
They signed
Um,
Savard. They lost Perry.
oh, that's that
So
was the
so
other thing.
fucking
Perry.
Perry goes to Tampa after
Yeah.
losing 2 years in a row in the Cup final. Goes to Tampa. Savard comes from Tampa to Montreal.
Yeah. Um,
You all right?
yeah, you cut out for me for a second. So
Oh,
um
okay.
but no, I heard what you said. It just like it lagged. But no, the the Perry thing, losing to them twice and then going to join them, the Lightning basically bullied Perry into joining their team.
Yes.
They said we
Yes.
will keep doing this to you if you don't just come join us.
He was
Like
having
that's
fucking nightmares. He
dude,
was like
like
not able to sleep at night.
the memes of like the picture after like one of the playoff games where the super bloody face and he's just like staring at the camera like and like and it's just like the caption is just like the Lightning literally bullied Perry into joining their team. She beat the bag out of him until he was like, okay, I'll come.
Now watch them get all the way to the final and they
Dude,
lose.
that I want that to happen so bad.
Perry would be
Like,
put him on Suey watch.
but that would mean the Bruins wouldn't make it to the Cup final. So maybe I don't want that to happen. But that would be so funny, dude.
Eastern Conference final. Like
I
Tampa's
said,
gonna. No, I know, but Tampa's gonna lose in the Eastern Conference final. I'll just change out that
yeah,
so Bruins can.
yeah,
Get,
you're right.
yeah.
I guess now is a good time to talk about the Bruins here real quick, who
Yeah.
made
I
good
love
amount
it.
of signings.
I love it.
On Wednesday. I believe they were all on Wednesday. So first off, there was first I'll start with Halak went to the Canucks, which I just want to throw. I think is going to be good. He's going to be a good backup behind Thatcher Demko there, who's Demko's obviously going to be able to play a majority of the games, but Halak's perfect guy. I feel like that can just step in when he needs to.
I was bummed to see him go.
Yeah, but we signed Linus Olmark, so it's okay.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say it's hard signing a goalie out of Buffalo because you really have no idea. I know he's good. I know
But he posted a 917 with that fucking team in front of him this past year.
I know. It's just it's so. I know at the end of the day, like he's got the skill, he's got the experience, like he's gonna be a good goalie. But Bruins committed a lot to him. They gave him what? They gave him 5x5. 5 by
I think it was 4 point something, 4 by 4 point something, 4 by 5. Yeah,
4x5.
4 years,
There you
5 mil.
Like that's not having a guy step in as a backup, a guy, step in for the next year or so. This is like we're locking up what we believe could be the goalie of the Bruins future for the time being.
Yeah, it's gonna be him and Swayman. That's gonna be our tandem.
Yeah. Which is kind of cool.
Yeah, what I'm excited for. I mean, I'll take it. But then there was the Mike Riley signing was a 3x3. I think that's a good one. I mean, he's a top 4 defenseman for us, 4th defenseman to be specific. But he'll be playing. He played with Carlo, right? Like last year when Carlo didn't have brain soup.
Yep.
But then the other one, which was also a 3x3, was Derek Forbert, who I didn't know this, but I saw it like when we signed him and stuff on Twitter. He was, I think, 4th or 5th in the league last year in blocked shots among players.
That's right.
Derek
You did.
Forbert.
You sent that to us. That's right.
Yeah. So I like that. I mean, if he's going to be playing on that third pair, that's exactly what I want out of a guy like that. If we're paying him $3 million and he's going to be top 5 in the league in blocking shots, that's worth it.
Yeah.
So I mean, there was him, and then on offense too, there was Eric Howla and Nosek and Foligno, which
Yeah, I was just going to go through the terms and money and stuff. Nosek was signed to a 2-year, $1.75 million AAV. Howla was 2-year, 2.375. And then Foligno was 2 by 3.8. So you look at these contracts. I'll hand this back over to you in a second. You look at these contracts and you see pretty, plain and simple. 2 years for Foligno, 2 years for Howla, 2 years for Nosek. This Bruins team understands the window that they have, and they are pretty much labeling their window as a 2-year window. I
Yeah.
think with these signings.
They're saying we are winning a cup this year or next year.
Yes,
No
which
ifs, ands, or buts about it. We are doing that.
as a Bruins fan, Don Sweeney is not the drafts guy and is not the offseason guy, in my opinion. He generally makes the right moves during the season. He's very, very good at contract negotiating. We've talked about this before. This is the happiest I've been with decisions he's made off the bat ever. Because he usually,
He had a good draft.
he'll make a sneaky sign here and there. Like he signed Craig Smith last
Yeah.
summer, and I was like, yeah, he's a worker, but what the fuck? Like
And,
you
and
couldn't
he
have signed
pulled,
anybody else. But
yeah.
you look at Craig Smith now, second line with Hall. He lit it up
Mhm.
with Hall and Krejci. Like he's a stud. This is one of the only times where I've ever looked at Sweeney's offseason and been like, you did a very, very good job. Like
Mhm.
you fucking knocked it out of the park.
Dude,
This team is so exciting.
it really is.
I'll throw you
Um,
can take it again though.
I was just gonna say, in the midst of all this, we lost a
Krejci.
great one to Bruins fans.
Yeah.
David Krejci is returning home to the Czech Republic to play there in front of his family, friends that he grew up with. Which, I mean, I'm sure you read the whole post on the Bruins Instagram. I mean, it's a decision you have to respect.
Mhm.
Wants to go play in front of the people that raised him and helped him get to this 14-year NHL career, but opens a huge gap in our second line center, second line that looked great towards the end of last season with Hall and Smith on his sides, or on his wings. A hole that's either going to be filled by Coyle or maybe Stanika or one of these younger guys, depending on how ready they are, which, like, I want to say worries me a little bit. The Not the Coyle part of it, but like having someone like Stanika come up and just all of a sudden be playing on a second line with Hall and Smith. I want to say it worries me a little bit, but from a more biased standpoint as a fan, I'm confident in him. The games I've seen him play, I think he's a good player. He's fast. Specifically Stanika I'm talking about here, just because
Mm-hmm.
he's the name I've
Mm-hmm.
seen most frequently. And if someone were to come up and fill that role, it'd be him. I mean, I don't know. It was a lot of mixed emotions when I saw that Krejci was leaving. I don't know how you felt, but like I wanted to be worried, but I was like, I feel like we're gonna be fine. Like
I yeah.
I don't mean to keep saying we. I'm sure that's annoying to people that aren't Bruins fans, but sorry.
Well, it just initial emotions to
It's
that.
natural.
Yes, it is. Initial emotions to that was a conversation that we had either last week or 2 weeks ago. I think it was last week. We're getting to the point in the NHL where, in like even in our age, where all the players that we watched growing up are over their prime. They're over their hump. They're 35, 36, 37 years old. Getzlaff 37, Perry 35, 36, Bergeron 35, Marchand 33, Ovechkin 36. All these guys that we grew up watching, who was the face of the NHL for us, is now, they're now coming to the end. So
Yeah.
you see a guy like Krejci go, and it in my heart it hurts, but in my mind I know that, as a Bruins fan, I do think, knowing the system that the Bruins have, knowing the prospect development that they have, I think they'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
They have Studnicka slated in there currently on on dailyfaceoff.com. Not sponsored. They have projected lineup. They have Hall, Studnicka, and Smith. Now, I think it's fucking hilarious that Hall comes to Boston. First time he's had like a legit center. He's on a bona fide second line. He is eating minutes. He's eating points, ripping pucks, having the time of his goddamn life. And he gets to have it for about 2 or 3 months. And now he's got a 21-year-old center who has never had legit NHL time before.
He is a Providence Bruin. He's playing with a Providence Bruin.
A child. He's a child. So and on the other side, you look at Studnicka, he's 21, 22 years old, if that. You are playing,
I think 22.
You're playing with, fucking hot take, one of the best wingers in the NHL in your first, what will probably be your first full season as a Bruin. That's fucked, but exciting.
I'm sure he's so excited, Studnicka, if it's gonna be him. But fuck, wait, I totally just drew a blank on the point I was gonna make. But I mean, yeah, wait, what?
You're right over there?
Why does it have Studnicka played in 20 games with the Boston Bruins this past year?
Yeah.
He played in that many?
Yeah.
I mean, I know he played in like a pretty good amount. I didn't think it was 20.
It was at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I still would have guessed it was like 10 or 11 though. But anyway, in the 1920 season, so before COVID, like when it got ended short, in 60 games with Providence, he put up 23 goals and 26 assists. This past year, only played 11 games in Providence, had 7 assists. This is Studnicka, but I don't know. I mean, I just like, how sick would it be if he comes in to play between Hall and Smith out of nowhere, where if you told me 3 months ago he was going to be the second line center next year,
You're like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
I think Hall is gonna speed up his development a little bit, which will be cool.
Yeah.
You know, I also look at, so Bruins lost Corrali in the offseason.
Right.
He went home to Ohio and Columbus. Shout out the Blue Jackets because nobody ever wants to be there. They also signed Werenski to a big contract as well.
Mm-hmm.
But you look at the bottom six too. Now, Bruins have about $2 million in cap right now. Their bottom six, bottom two lines: Coyle centering Foligno and Howla, and Nosek centering DeBrusk and Wagner. That is left wing and then right wing, respective. I fucking hate DeBrusk, and they have $2 million in cap. And I think with the moves that we saw, I don't think DeBrusk is going to be a Bruin for much longer, especially if Rask is interested in returning. Obviously, he has surgery. He's not going to be back until January or February. If they want him in time for the playoffs, then they have to move someone. And I think by process of elimination, DeBrusk is going to be that someone. Don't like him on that fourth line. I like Nosek down there. I like Wagner down there. DeBrusk, in my opinion, has overstayed his welcome in Boston. I don't think he's done enough to show that he deserves to be on the roster. Who knows? Maybe in training camp, someone's going to take a spot, and he'll be a black ace or he'll be a health bomb every night. Who knows? But
that would be nice.
Yeah,
maybe it'll be Fabian Lysell, who's not even at Dev Camp.
Who knows? But overall, I don't want to stroke off the bees too much while we're here. But those 12 forwards look sick. Defensemen look awesome too. Grzelcyk and McAvoy, Forbert and Carlo, Riley and Clifton.
Yeah,
I like that. Good mix of size, good mix of skill on each one. So I like it.
I do too. But anyway, enough about the Bruins.
Yeah, sorry.
A little bit about the Devils here. Pulled the trigger on Dougie Hamilton with a 7x9, 7 years, $9 million AAV, which overpay or just right, whatever. I think he's somewhere around that $9 million AAV, especially after the Seth Jones signing, when that just sort of became the benchmark. I think you had to see Hamilton getting $9 million a year coming.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't know. I wasn't expecting the Devils to pull that. I'm super excited for it. I think that's sick. You obviously just drafted Luke Hughes, who may not be ready for another couple of years, at least one. I mean, he's going to Michigan next year, and then who knows what's going to happen after that. Um, but I think that's going to be exciting to see how that plays out. They have a super young uh, offensive group with, I mean, I don't think they didn't sign any like big name forwards, did they, in this
No.
little free agency? Because I mean, I remember, yeah, it was after, I think I briefly mentioned it last episode too, after losing Palmieri and Zajac last year, their average forward age out of like their 13 forwards was like low 20s. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's an exciting team. And then the other thing was they signed Jonathan Bernier. That was, we didn't talk about that last week, right? That hadn't happened yet. That happened
Nope.
on Wednesday. They signed Jonathan Bernier, who will be playing alongside Mackenzie Blackwood, who I think is a good young goalie. And I remember last year they had Corey Crawford signed before he retired. The Devils did. So it was pretty clear they were looking for this like veteran goalie to kind of play with Blackwood here for a year or two while he gets like fully developed.
Yeah.
And I think they got that out of Bernier, if that's what they're looking for. What was the contract? Pretty sure just 1 year.
Two by 4.125.
Oh,
So they committed a lot to him.
that's not. I knew it was 1 or 2 years. I didn't know it was that much money. I forgot. That is a lot.
But at the same time, you look at that roster, how like obviously Hamilton, you've got the space. You need. They're not going anywhere. It's not like they're spending their money on guys that are going to help them win a cup.
All their forwards are still on rookie contracts.
They're literally rebuilding. You have to hit that minimum somehow.
Yeah.
So they did that. They moved Will Butcher.
That's the next thing I was going to bring up. I was very confused by that because
for nothing, essentially.
I remember I saw it and I was like, am I missing something? Like Butcher's pretty fucking good. I mean, he's not like a all-star elite defenseman, but like, I mean, he's really solid. Unless I'm missing something here.
Hobie Baker, no. He won the national championship with Denver, correct?
I believe so.
So no, it wasn't the Hobie Baker. He won the championship. No, I saw that. Obviously, everybody had a down year in New Jersey last year. That's fine.
Yeah.
But, he's a fairly younger guy. He's 20. At this point, he's going to be 25, 24, 25. Like that, you're in this rebuild phase right now. I feel like that's not a guy you want to lose. So that was curious. And they sent him and a 5th rounder to Buffalo for future consideration. So for currently,
which is nothing.
For nothing. They sent him for nothing.
Yeah.
Which is unfathomable. But
one thing I do want to say though, while speaking about the Devils decor, or just the Devils team in general, my early pick for bounce back player of the year, which one of us picked last year, I think it was you. Actually, maybe it wasn't. It's PK Subban.
Oh my God.
Fuck,
was that my bounce back player of the year?
No. Yours was Bobrovsky. I think Raff did PK.
Oh my God.
Yours was Sergei Bobrovsky. And then mine was Michael? No, Hall. Wait.
Yours was one of those two.
I think it was Hall. But anyway,
got it right.
Yeah. Towards the end of the year. But yeah, dude, I just want to see PK Subban have one more really good year. Like, come on.
I know.
He's still, I think he's still getting paid like $9 million. I don't know for how much longer or anything. Oh, I got it right here. This coming season is the last year of his contract at $9 million. And then he'll be a UFA. But just I want him to have one more good year. He's still only 32. So he's not like super old yet. But I don't know. I'm definitely excited to see how that. I don't know who plays what side with like. Let's see. Subban plays the right side. Dougie plays the right side too, right? I believe
so. Yeah. Let me keep talking. I'll pull it up.
No. Yeah. I think he's a right-handed shot. I know that. So But no, I'm excited to see that Devils team, and obviously with all those young guys, they have Hughes. I love that Igor Sharangovich kid.
That kid's a stud.
Dude, I
He
love
is a
him.
stud.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see the Devils this year. I'm not saying they're a playoff team or anything, but I think it's going to be exciting to see how close they can get with this roster.
Picked up Ryan Graves from the Avalanche there too,
Oh,
who is another
forgot
really,
about
really good
that one,
defenseman. So all of a sudden, their defensive core
including the
becomes
goalies.
becomes very exciting. So you have Ryan
Mm-hmm.
Graves and Dougie Hamilton as your first pairing. You have
Mm,
Ty Smith, also a fucking stud,
Forgot about
with
him.
Damon Severson, and then Siegenthaler, pretty decent with Subban on
Yeah,
the third pairing. So that
dude.
becomes a very uh deep pairing.
Sucks that you're paying Subban 9 mil, but besides that,
So
yeah. I mean, that's
Luke Hughes could bid for a spot in there
yeah,
if he doesn't choose to go back to school too.
yeah. I think he should, but
I think he
we'll
should
see.
too. 1 year. 1 year.
Um,
That's it.
yeah, that decor is definitely exciting, and then to see how the Bernier signing plays out with Blackwood.
Hmm.
Um, and then obviously, like we said, that young forward core. That's a team I'm excited to see this year for sure. And then I also wanted to one of the last few we'll talk about here, but um, what's his name? Mike Hoffman signed with the Habs. I
Hmm.
know, like all last season, his name was being thrown around constantly about signing somewhere else or being traded. And he signed a 3 by 4.5 with Montreal, um, who, like we mentioned earlier, lost a little bit out of Weber and Deneau, but also Jonathan Drouin, I saw this morning, is expected to be playing next year. Um, so I also am curious to see how they come into next season compared to how they finished off this season. They obviously looked great in the playoffs and towards the end of the regular season and stuff, but I'm curious with a bit of a different roster in terms of some of those big names in Weber and Deneau, uh, if they can keep that up. So
Yeah, that'll be a fun team to watch too. They signed, did you mention Matthew Perot?
I did
Uh
not mention him. No.
won by 950K.
Mm-hmm.
Um Paul Byron is going to be out for about 5 months or so with I think it was a shoulder
I did
surgery or
see
something
that.
like
Yeah.
that. He didn't really play in the playoffs at all, but
Mm-hmm.
no, that's another team that you look at what they lost in fucking Deneau, in what they lost in Perry. They also signed Cedric Paquette to
Saw
a
that
one
one. Yeah.
year under $1 million deal. Obviously, the
Mm-hmm.
addition of David Savard. That's another fun team. That's another team I feel like the Devils. It could be made some not questionable moves, but like interesting moves as to maybe why they would do that. Um, but they also brought in some lesser known guy, not lesser known, but I don't know what I'm saying. I literally have no idea what just went through my head. I had one thought and
We
then
have been going for a while here. I don't even know how long it's been, but
I don't think it's been that long. But I just know I lost
it's
everything
been
I was
like a
just
good
gonna say.
hour.
Has it? I don't think it
It's
has.
5:43. I think we started at like 4:40 something.
Oh, dude, my computer says 4:57, but my phone says 5:45. Whoa, that threw me
My
through a loop.
computer says 5:43.
No, I know. It's because
Time's
my
fake.
my computer got fucked up before we hopped on. Remember that? Um,
Oh yeah,
so I've been looking at that. I was like, dude, we've only been going for like 40 minutes. Like, what the fuck?
yeah.
Trying to think.
But
I was gonna say Keith Yandel went to Philly one
we
year.
we mentioned that last week though, because it was like,
Oh, we did. I don't.
yeah,
It wasn't like
it
official
wasn't
yet,
official,
but
yeah, but we brought it up because it was like rumored. Um, but I like that what is it, 900,000 one
yeah.
year.
Hmm.
I love that.
Complete steal.
Yeah,
I don't know why there's so much shit on Yandel's name. I don't
yeah.
understand why the
I don't
Panthers
get
did
it.
him so dirty. He's such a good defenseman.
Mhm. He is like, I think he'll be like 35 next season, but
He's
like
older, but
whatever.
he's still
Yeah,
got game.
yeah. And you obviously, any fan knows and hears stories about how he is as a locker room guy. Everyone who's ever played with him loves the fuck out of him,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
so why wouldn't you want him in your locker room? But um, there's one player that I want to bring up, uh, is Pew Suter or Pius Suter, but
Piss. Piss.
yeah, so he signed with the Red Wings, a 2 year, 3.25 a year. He obviously came up with the Blackhawks this past year, and I remember there was a game he had like a hat trick, and me and Raff and like you were like freaking out because like he came up like mid season, I think was when he
Mm-hmm.
like first kind of started, and like I forget if he scored a goal in that first game or something, but he was playing really well, and he ended up scoring a pretty good amount of goals in that like second half of the year, and looked great. And I think if he's I mean, I don't know how young he is age wise, but just new to the league in general, um, Detroit is a great place to be with
Yeah,
all those other guys.
I agree.
Um, so I'm just that's just a player I'm excited to watch this year. I'll be tuning into Red Wings games for him.
And
But
under like Stevie Y too, like you're
yeah,
gonna learn so much with him. You're gonna
mhm.
learn so much from Larkin and that whole group of guys. So that and the ageless wonder Sam Gagne, who Detroit re-upped again for another year. Uh, but I, dude, there's so many. I feel like those are all the big ones.
Pretty much.
Do you want to go through pick like a most improved team, a team that you're looking at for next year that based on their performance in the offseason or at least the
Boston.
free agency? Oh, you're gonna say Boston
No. I won't actually go with them. I mean, like they were definitely a big winner in free agency this year, but I won't pick them.
because I
Um,
have I have a team that
what's yours? You go first.
so mine is the Toronto Maple Leafs, and here's why.
Are you about to suck off Andre Kosh again?
Oh, you guys fucking hated him, huh?
Dude, he sucks.
Dude,
He's so
he's
bad.
so much
He's
better
not
than.
sniffing that Leafs lineup this year.
Okay, but hear me out. Hear me out. The Maple Leafs, from what I understand, didn't lose anybody except for Hyman and Zach Bogosian.
Yeah.
Other than that,
Freddie Anderson
oh, and
in
Freddie
that.
Anderson.
But they
That's right.
got Mrazek.
But
So
yes,
whatever.
so I look at who they signed. They signed Brett Ritchie and Andre Cachet.
Nick Ritchie.
Um, huh?
They signed Nick Ritchie.
What did I say?
You said Brett Ritchie.
I was thinking about you. My bad.
Yeah. Of course you're thinking about me.
Yeah. Uh I not flashy signings here, but they're all depth signings. Signed Nick Ritchie, Kashe. They pulled. Give me a moment.
Yep.
David Kemp, Josh
Mhm.
Hosang as a PTO. Um, Curtis Gabriel, Mike Amadio, Michael Bunting. Like these aren't flashy guys, and then obviously Mrazek as well. They're not flashy guys. They're not the big star players, but they don't need those. They have Marner, Nylander, Matthews, Tavares, all these guys. I think this is the depth that they needed. Um, Kyle Dubas has pretty much said like this is the group that's going to do it. Don't know how, but they're going to. If I'm going to say one thing, I do think they need a little bit more of a bona fide defenseman back there. But this is one team where they were really, really good last year. I know it's hard to compare them in the North Division. They were really, really good last year. And with even more depth moves, I think they're one of the most improved teams away from Boston because I know we can't suck them off forever. I know Raff is going to call total cap on that call. I know he's going to be rolling in his grave in that dirty little dungeon of a room he's sitting in as he listens to this podcast. So shout out you, bud. But I'm sticking to it. I'm sticking to my guns. That's what I think. How's your eye patch?
Okay. I'm I like that pick.
Thanks.
I
Thank you.
definitely you're welcome. I definitely like want to say Bruins here, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna go with St. Louis Blues. They lost Mike Hoffman, like I just
Oh,
said, but
curious.
I'm not saying they're the most improved. Just one that I'm going to bring up because I feel like they haven't really been talked about much in our episodes the last couple of weeks. But they signed Pavel Buchnevich to begin with, who I think is a great forward. He was a 4 by 5.8, but gonna be overpaid. It's gonna happen. And then they did. Oh, where'd it go? Oh yeah, there was the Brandon Sod one, who I love. He was 5 by 4.5, and then re-signed. These are a couple of re-signings, but Jordan Cairo, 2 by 2.8, who I loved last year. I
Yeah.
thought he had a good year. Kind of low key, wasn't really talked about much, but getting him for the next 2 years at 2.8. If he proves himself in those 2 years, he'll get a bigger bag after one of those prove it deals. And then also the re-signing of Ivan Barbashev, who is a good depth guy. They still have Tarasenko. They ended up not losing him. Losing Hoffman, like I said, happened, which sucks. But that's I don't know. That's just one that I kind of like was almost disregarding throughout this sort of free agency frenzy here. I was seeing that they were making moves, but I just wasn't really thinking too much about them until right now. I was kind of like, oh shit, they might have made some good ones here with those names I just said. But yeah, them Bruins did great. Even like the Kraken with Grubauer and Schwartz, Alex Wenberg too from Florida.
Yep.
Just some like low key signings there. Dallas also picked up Holtby and Suter, who we didn't mention before, Ryan Suter, who was bought out. But yeah,
It'll be. I said it last week. I'll say it again this week. I think this is one of the most active off seasons I've seen since fucking I've been alive. Or since
Wednesday
I've.
was the best day of my life.
It was
That was so
Tuesday.
exciting.
Tuesday and Wednesday were literal Christmas mornings.
That was Christmas Eve and Christmas Day,
Yes.
literally. Like I got like some gifts from my grandparents on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
You got like some of the smaller ones, and like Wednesday I got the big ones.
Yes.
Christmas Day.
And it was huge. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be fun.
Oh, the other thing about the Stars, they re-signed that Yoel Kiviranta kid for 2 years at only 1.05 AAV. I think it's gonna be good. Love that kid. Him, Hintz, and Dennis Gurianov is a filthy line, but I'll talk about that next year when they light it up.
Yeah.
Is that pretty much it for this week's episode?
I think that's it.
Oh, we did a lot of talking this week.
Yeah, we did.
Because obviously,
because no party pooper Raff.
Yeah. Feels weird. Definitely felt weird. But
we miss him, but it's okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, that does it for episode 32.
You can see the gears turning trying to outro this.
Dude, what are you talking about? Why'd you have to interrupt me? I was literally on a roll. I was killing that.
On a roll like butter, dude.
That was fire.
Thanks.
On a roll like butter? Oh my God.
Well, I was
I'm
going to
start saying that.
Oh, okay. I was making fun
Dude,
of
what do you mean? That's sick. Like, you like when you're like doing good or something, you're like, I'm on a roll like butter. Like,
well, I was calling you like a buttered roll, but
oh, well, I don't take offense to that.
You've embraced it.
Yeah, of course. But that does it for episode 32 of Buddy Pascal.
I can't. You know what, dude? I can't.
Going too fast. I'm going too fast.
I can't wait for Raff to just shit on us.
Oh,
I can't wait.
This might have been our worst episode.
It could have been. It probably was. I know. I think
honestly might have been, dude.
I think the majority of our listeners too are like friends of Raff. So
Oh yeah,
I'm curious to see if they actually listen to this, knowing that Raff isn't on it.
they
I want
probably won't.
if you did, shout out you guys. But no, I just can't wait for him to shit on us. I can't wait for him to get back.
We're gonna have 2 listens on this week's episode, and that's you and me.
It's literally you. No, we're gonna have 3 because Raff is gonna listen to it too.
Yeah,
Where
yeah, yeah. So
he'll
we
probably
can,
get halfway through and be like, "This is horrible.
yeah.
Can't."
We'll tell him to fast forward to the last few minutes so he can hear this part here,
Yeah,
uh, to make sure.
yeah.
But yeah, so for the third time, that
Dude,
does it for episode 32 of Buddy Pass Podcast, presented by the Masshole Perspective. Go check them out if you haven't. They do football, basketball, baseball. That's it, right?
are
They
those
don't.
all the sports?
Yeah, I think it's just those 3 they do over there. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend.
This is
Thank
brutal.
God we have Rav.
I fucking yeah. So thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
For once in my life, I'm thankful that we have Rav.
Yeah, I know. He does more for us than I think we realize.
Yeah.
I still hate him. But
Yeah.
so thank you guys for listening to episode 32 of
Yep.
the Body Pass podcast presented by the Masshole Perspective. As Raff would say, enjoy your week and your weekend. I hope you all are very, very upset with you know what? Fuck that. I hope you guys are excited with what your favorite team did in free agency. I hope your team signed a great player, someone you're really excited about. And I hope your team does great. Raff, that's the difference between you and I. Okay? Suck it.
Um, I was just gonna say, no, finish your outro. Finish your outro.
Why? If you're just gonna talk anyway.
Well, I was gonna say, since we kind of just both did an outro, if you're listening to this, go comment on the Instagram who did a better one.
I did like 75% of one. But no, thanks for tuning in this week. Whole squad will be here next week, in theory. Hoping for a few interviews coming up, so stay tuned for those announcements.
Yes.
Some merch announcements coming soon as well. So thanks for listening as always. Go enjoy your week and your weekend. You might have to start wearing a mask again, so maybe throw one of those on. But thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.